Welcome back, everyone, to the last three talks of the day here at Polkadot Decoded Stage 1. Next up, we have Soheil from University of Wyoming discussing a next-generation secure digital ecosystem and the nexus of climate and energy. This is a platform designed to be a parathread on the Polkadot network, aiming to address the challenges of the energy transition to low-carbon resources by developing a secure digital platform to engage stakeholders, especially in the energy industry. Welcome, Soheil.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much. And I'm very excited to be here. And today I would like to talk to you about a next generation secure digital ecosystem at the nexus of climate and energy. That's the topic that we're working on here at the University of Wyoming. So I will start today first by talking a little bit about the global energy transition concept and what is happening. Then I'll talk a little bit about a very short background about evolution of blockchain technology in the past couple of decades. And then I try to tie these two concepts together and show you how blockchain may play a role in the future of energy. Next, I will talk a little bit about the state of Wyoming in the context of these global trends. And then I introduce finally our project here at the University of Wyoming. And then I get a little bit more specific on a pilot project we're currently working on called Carbon Credits, Markets, and Blockchain. So in the Paris Agreement, the countries that were concerned with the current trend in the global warming or carbon emissions decided to curb the carbon emissions by keeping the global warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius compared to the pre-industrial age. So if you look at the graph on the right side of the screen, you'll see the current trends of carbon emissions globally in the last 3 decades. The first thing you can notice is that the trend has been exponential. And the other thing you can notice is that the contribution of the energy sector, which is shown in dark blue and dark green, are pretty much probably more than half of the entire contribution to the carbon emission. So therefore, for us to achieve the goals of the Paris Agreement, we need to restructure the energy industry. What does that mean? That means transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energy. It means to develop and integrate CCUS techniques into our current energy resources, and also moving towards decarbonized power systems, and eventually achieve the goal of net zero carbon energy production by 2050, as was outlined in the latest regional reports. Now, a little bit about blockchain. You guys probably familiar with that, but as you know, blockchain started as merely a decentralized network to secure cryptocurrencies. The entire movement started with CryptoPine movement in 1990s, and then successfully solidified in the Bitcoin white paper in 2007. A few years later, after several attempts to change the Bitcoin network to allow more applications on the network, and that efforts were not successful, eventually a new white paper came out called Ethereum in 2015, and that brought the paradigm of world computer into light. After that, the smart contract platforms start gaining traction, DAOs started, and shortly after, the concept of Web 3.0 gained some traction, with Polkadot white paper play a central role in there. So since then, our understanding of what Web 3.0 is has been evolving from what was introduced in the FAT protocol thesis to the current view of interoperable specialized blockchains. That is the view that I currently hold myself, and I think that is the way moving forward. So if you search for the keyword blockchain technology or blockchain on the World Economic Forum, you'll see some chart like this, which pretty much connects a lot of different concepts to this technology. The one that I want you to pay attention to is the future of energy, which is circled in red. If we do a quick literature survey on the internet, you will find some use cases that related to the blockchain and future of energy. For example, carbon credit markets on blockchain have been a topic of interest for a while, and more on that later in this talk. There is suggestion that you can use smart contracts to create a smart electric grids. Peer-to-peer energy trading and microgrid energy markets are the other areas that have been explored. Connecting IoT devices to blockchain is something that is discussed in this conference also, is something interesting, especially in the context of energy, because it could allow companies to monitor their production, their carbon emission, also better experience for customers. Internet of Vehicles is another application which tries to connect electric cars to a charging station in a decentralized manner. And the other one that I'm personally interested in is tracing energy or decarbonized or low carbon energy rather, from the production to the customers, and how that can affect our future of energy. And the possibilities keep going on. Now, let's talk about Wyoming in the context of this energy transition trend globally. Wyoming is known as the energy state here in the US. We are the third largest producer of energy. We are actually the first if you consider the ratio of production to consumption. If Wyoming was a country, it would be roughly equivalent to Norway, UAE, and Kazakhstan in terms of energy production. The main sources of energy in the state have been fossil fuel, oil, gas, and coal, but the state has great potentials for renewable energy. Some of these have been under development for years, and some of them will be developed in the future. Examples are wind, solar, geothermal, and hydrogen production. There have been several successful projects on the umbrella of carbon capture, utilization, and storage in the states. And maybe perhaps more interestingly, Governor Gordon announced the state plan to go net zero carbon energy mix in the future. As you can see, Wyoming is well positioned in this energy transition movement globally. So what makes Wyoming a blockchain state? Recently, Wyoming passed 24 new blockchain enabling laws. Here is a timeline and a few examples. For example, in 2018, Wyoming became the first state to enact a token taxonomy. What that means is that they recognized and differentiated between different types of tokens, from securities to utility tokens. Also, a newer development that is more interesting to me is the new law that considers decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs, as legal companies or LLC inside the state of Wyoming. So against this background, I would like to introduce the project we're working on here at the University of Wyoming. It is tentatively called Energy Blockchain. Our vision could be categorized in 4 different categories. On the technology development, we are interested in developing the next generation secure digital specialized blockchain systems for energy applications. We also would like to create a research hub to promote sustainable energy production, transportation, and consumption. As you may appreciate, this is a really tough problem we are trying to address. It's a transdisciplinary problem, so we need to engage the real world participants or stakeholders, especially regulatory bodies and energy industry. And that's what we have been doing so far. We engage with different entities in the state of Wyoming, and we have the support of the Wyoming Energy Authority, the Wyoming Business Council, and the Enhanced Oil Recovery Institute. And finally, last but not least, as an institution of higher education, as a matter of fact, the only one in the state of Wyoming, we need to fulfill our duty by providing educational opportunities to the students and energy professionals. We are a diverse group of faculty across different colleges on campus working on this project. We have presented our vision on several on-campus competitions. And so far we have been awarded 2 grants, a Research Office Grant Challenge Initiative and a Provost Strategic Investment Fund. We also collaborate with various centers and entities across the campus. All right, so far what I presented to you is a big picture and vision of what we are doing, but let's, since given that I'm presenting to a blockchain developer community, I would like to get a little bit more specific. By focusing on a pilot project we are currently working on called carbon credit markets. So a little bit background first. So one of the consequences of Kyoto Protocol was that it changed our view of carbon emissions as a problem to be solved, to a commodity to be traded. Since then, several carbon markets have emerged across the world. Perhaps the most successful ones are the European Union emission trading system and California's offset program. These markets have potential to become largest commodity market in the world. For example, carbon trading peaked at $215 billion in 2019. That being said, however, there are some challenges and shortcomings in the current markets. For example, despite the fact that carbon emission is a global problem, the implementation of these markets have been suffering from fragmentation and without much of a cross-market exchange of value. Some markets have been suffering from overcrediting of carbons, which basically defeats the purpose. Also, some carbon credits suffer from unclear life cycles or double spending dilemma. By the way, this last one is the one that Bitcoin solved for cryptocurrency. And also substantial transaction costs have been a problem that transfer wealth to brokers and agents. For example, the transaction costs in carbon market have been estimated to be around 4 to 10%, between 4 and 10%. Okay, how do we solve these challenges? We believe that the blockchain technology provides a platform that is uniquely suited to solve this problem. And these are the reasons. One, it provides a safety and reliability by providing a clear issuance, tracking, and burning of the carbon tokens or carbon credits. Two, it is efficient and convenient because it removes the intermediaries and allows the customers to directly interact with the carbon emission systems. It is open and inclusive, as everyone can participate. Companies, individuals concerned with climate change, and the blockchain technology also brings the barrier much lower, so small and medium-sized enterprises can participate in the market. Here is a preliminary design for the implementation of this project. The main goal of this implementation is to maximize the stakeholder participation. For example, customers and credit holders within the energy industry to even outside of the industry even, a group of certified validators, and also a group of liquidity providers that could be individuals, private or public funds. The system would have a clear tokenization, distribution, and burning mechanism for carbon tokens. And that would be the path that we think would be mostly suited for the design of this project on the blockchain. On the technology side, the roadmap that we imagine for this project is consisted of two stages. On stage one, the research and development will start by creating an independent blockchain as a testnet to develop ideas and applications. This will be eventually evolved into a research and educational tool. In stage two, a commercial enterprise-grade blockchain will be developed to demo energy use cases, also provide enterprise-grade services to the energy industry, and eventually down the road will be connected to public blockchains. We consider Substrate as the framework to develop this platform because, as you know, it is easy for development. It is modular, customizable, and provides forkless upgrades. It is based on a secure programming language. It also has an active developer community, which, in my opinion, is very important for a long-term development of the project. I myself recently finished an intensive Substrate developer course, and I would like to give a shout out to Industry Connect and Brian Chen for providing the course. So the commercial blockchain, the way I envision it is a standalone Substrate-based proof of authority initially. Reason for that is that large enterprises are a little bit worried about data privacy, and they might not feel comfortable with or necessarily understand that well the public blockchains. But eventually down the road, it would be, I assume it will evolve into a parathread to settle the transaction on Polkadot. And there, in the far future, we can see that it might become a parachain if we reach large transaction volumes eventually. All right, to put everything together, climate change and global warming are the challenges of the current century. This has led the energy industry to transition and start restructuring itself. Through this transition, there are several challenges on multiple fronts that we need to address for decades to come. And I believe blockchain can play a central role in this transition period by, for example, helping to modernize the energy industry, by improving energy production efficiency and allowing for cleaner energy production, also improving the access around the world to sustainable energy. Great, thank you very much for attending to this talk. Before I take your questions, I would like to mention that we are looking for talent. If you're a developer in the community and interested to work on a project with huge impact in human life.
Focused, I think, on bringing like energy markets and all those transactions on chain in a very market-based structure, less on the carbon climate side of things. The question here is if you've considered working with Energy Web at all, or
yes.
how familiar you are with the program they're working on.
Yes, so I've not met anybody in Energy Web, but I am familiar with their work through their website and different white papers they are publishing. I mean, of course, this is like such a new thing that grants a lot of collaboration in this, and we are open to that. Our approach to the problem is different than their approach. As you mentioned, they are looking at it from the customer side. We are looking at it from the industry side. So we are trying to help the industry to go carbon zero. What they are doing is try to get from the customer side and transaction side in, which I think there might be rooms for collaboration in the future, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Another question here, again, like perfect segue from your positioning from the last question. Like, so what's the main challenge for adoption from the sort of direction that you're taking it for, more on the, more top-down side of things?
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a different problem. So I think the way we're trying to address the problem is by not only the technology side. We of course need to have a great technology, but we also need to engage. And engagement requires engaging authorities, engaging the industry that maybe have not heard about blockchain yet. They maybe don't feel comfortable with blockchain yet. So it takes some educational steps. It takes some reaching out. And that is, to me, is a big challenge, to convincing people to give it a try, to allow us to just work with them to find the solutions for them. And when we started the project, we very well knew that this would be our biggest challenge. So we actually have a very strong outreach program, as we have a strong technology development program.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate you presenting for us today, and we really look forward to tracking your progress and hope to have you back at a future Polkadot Decoded when you can show us more.
Thank you very much. Absolutely. We'll be glad to do that.
Everyone, stick around. We'll be right back in a couple minutes.